I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Sree Sreenivasan. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Doing great, thank you.
Great pleasure to connect with you, Sree. What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in beautiful New York City. I live in Manhattan, and I'm looking out our dining room window at the Hudson River.
Oh, sweet.
And I'm very happy to talk to you.
Yeah, great pleasure to speak with you as well. Please do tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Oh, I'm not sure. My main work is as a digital evangelist. I work with companies and nonprofits and individuals to make them better at social and digital media. And I believe that technology is inherently complicated, but it's not the fault of the users, that people's lives can be made better by technology, but it's very frustrating.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So who did you learn the skills necessary to share and to teach on this topic, my friend?
Oh, yeah, well, it's a variety of people over many, many years. I know you're on a beautiful island, and I went to high school in Fiji, and the Fiji Islands, in the Pacific Ocean, South Pacific. And there, my mother insisted on sending me to a computer class to learn the language known as BASIC. And that was my first hint of what computers could do. But even more important, before that, she had taught me another skill, which was how to type on a typewriter and on a manual typewriter. And so she insisted, and I could see no value in learning how to type. But slowly I saw the value. And then over many years, I was exposed to the internet in 1991, 92, and I saw that the world was going to change forever. And I decided that this was going to be what I would be an evangelist for, and an enthusiast and an evangelist for.
How old were you around that time?
I was born in Tokyo to parents who were from India and were posted in the Indian embassy in Tokyo. And I was born in a Japanese hospital, and my father had no problem picking me out in the window. He said, "The brown one is mine." And we lived in Japan, and then we lived in Bhutan, and then we lived in the Soviet Union. And then we eventually made our way to my dad's work here in New York. At the age of 9, I came to New York. And it was quite a shock to come to America and see how different it is from the rest of the world. And when I was about 12, I told my parents that I was going to be a journalist, and they started crying because Indian parents want their children to be doctors and lawyers and engineers and not journalists. But I knew that journalism is what I wanted to do. Then we lived in Burma, and eventually I went to high school in Fiji. And there I started working at a newspaper called the Fiji Sun as an intern. And the motto of the Fiji Sun was the first newspaper published in the world today. Not the oldest, but the first, because it's right next to the international date line in Fiji.
Right.
And so I enjoyed doing that, and I knew that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And I went to college in India, and I started working, basically doing 30, 40 hours of working at a newspaper since the age of 16, after various internships and a proofreading job at the college I went to, and while I was in college in New Delhi. And then I went to Columbia Journalism School, and after graduating, I was offered a fellowship to teach. And so I stayed what I thought was 9 months, but I stayed for 20 years. And then I eventually became chief digital officer of Columbia. Then I was a chief digital officer of the Metropolitan Museum. And then I was chief digital officer of New York City. But now I'm a strategy a digital and social media strategy consultant, and I work with companies, individuals, and my job is to help people get better at social media.
What a journey.
Yes.
So, all right. So you've been doing this for quite a bit now, right? Where you're in this world, and it seems as though you're not only doing the social media lifestyle, if you would, but you're actually helping others now, even more so, right? Why will you continue to repeat that skill?
Well, because I think that there's so much for the world to understand about social media that I believe this is my calling to help them. And, I've seen technology change before. I was in Fiji when I first saw the power of the fax machine. And the fax machine was very powerful because it changed the way people communicated. And nowadays, nobody even cares about the fax. But at that time, it was as revolutionary as having an iPhone because you couldn't believe how great a fax was the first time you saw it. And then I saw the power of the personal computer and word processing and all of that. And then I saw the power of email to connect and stay in touch. And then came the web and all its power, and now social media. So that's been the evolution in my lifetime of technology and its impact.
Pretty amazing. Tell me one other thing, Sree, that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Well, I've put in as much interest and I put in as much energy as possible into thinking about how big institutions transform at a time when it is very difficult to change what they're doing. And how do people become smarter at technology? The other thing that I've been doing last 3-4 years is trying to become a better photographer using just my phone, and I try to do everything I can just on my mobile phone and not on my laptop as much as possible. There was a period for last year for about 3 months where I used a computer, a laptop or a desktop only something like 30 minutes in that time because everything else I try to do on the phone.
How does that make you feel, seeing where technology has come from and seeing the interaction now that you're having with it?
I think it's been very exciting to see the changes, but also we see still the issues of the haves and the have-nots, because if people don't have the digital skills, they're going to be left behind. There was a time when if you knew something about technology that was good for you, you could get a job. But today, if you don't know technology, you can't get a job. And just in my city in New York, the greatest, like I like to think the greatest city in the world, there's a major problem of the digital divide. And there are people here who don't have access to technology, access to the internet the way they should. So I think it's something that we should all think about wherever we live.
Pretty amazing. Now, Sree, one of the things that we just should clear up is the way you are teaching people to use social media. This is not the model of how to post. All right. Share with us exactly how you do that, please.
Well, what I try to teach people is that you have there's a rule I heard that I love called what's common sense in real life is common sense in social media, meaning that nothing has really changed. It's just that the impact, reach, and scope of what we do now impact so many more people than before. So that doesn't mean we shouldn't be using all the technology, but we should be very smart about how we do it. And especially young people, what they do online, a single mistake they make can affect the rest of their lives and their careers. And so they have to be very careful.
Yeah. Well, amazing audience. We are live with Sree Sreenivasan. And again, you can reach out to him. Where's the best place for us to connect with you, Sree?
I think there are a couple of places. One is LinkedIn. I believe not enough people use LinkedIn properly.
Right.
So I believe it will benefit everyone if they can use LinkedIn better, including me. So I encourage you to use LinkedIn and just search for my name. If you're on Twitter, I'm at Sree, Sree on Twitter. On Instagram, I'm at SreeNet. And on Facebook, I have two things that I think are useful for your audience. One is a Facebook page called Sree Tips, Sreetips, Sreetips. And the second is a closed Facebook group called Sree's Advanced Social Media, Sree apostrophe S advanced social media. So if you search Sree's advanced social media, you'll find a group of 6,000 people who have taken my classes or are interested in social and live around the world, including people who work at Facebook, at Twitter, at LinkedIn, and all these other places. And so if you post a question, somebody will answer somewhere in the world. It is a very exciting group. It's great, not because of me, but because of the audience and the community that we have built together.
That's amazing. Well, Sree, let's switch gears for a moment now and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Sree, what is your earliest childhood memory?
I have vague memories of living in Bhutan, which was a beautiful country high in the mountains, very underdeveloped and very cold. And so it's the opposite of the blue Caribbean waters that you described. And then also memories of living in the Soviet Union in Moscow at the height of the Soviet Union. So that was also a different time and place. And those are my memories. I also had a rabbit that my mother gave me in Bhutan that I do remember.
Wow, 3 memories. How old do you think you were?
I was probably 2 or 3 years old.
All right. Why do you think these memories are so clear?
Well, because it's about family and it's about nature. I think we have strong connections to those things.
Pretty amazing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with those memories?
Sure.
I love the idea of you being the social strategist, if you would, and your memories being in totally different pictures where, I mean, culturally, it's totally different, of course, geographically as well. And to see the person that you've become now being the individual that is encouraging those conversations amongst different and the variety of individuals is pretty intriguing. What I do find even more interesting is the rabbit. Social media and the world of social media can feel as though you're going down a rabbit hole. And I think the strategy is really needed so that you do not end up going down the wrong rabbit hole.
Yes, that's fascinating. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Oh boy. So this is the summer of 81. So I'd have to think of, Michael Jackson, I'm sure, was very much a part of my youth soundtrack. Songs by the Beatles and Queen and whatever was on the top 40 radio at the time.
Yeah, choose one. Tell me one that pops out immediately.
Oh well, I don't think Thriller had come out yet, but I love my favorite dance song is "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" by Michael Jackson.
Love it. All right, it's amazing how it connects, right? I mean, in the social world, definitely don't stop until you get enough, right?
I like that. Very smart.
Well, Sree, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Sree, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Well, my goal is to teach every single person that I can reach.
Are you married?
Yes, I'm married and I have 2 14-year-olds.
Do you believe in God?
Absolutely.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
It depends. The news, I don't consider watching TV.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer?
Screen time, sure. It's much more than 3 hours.
Okay, more than 8 or more less than 8 hours a day?
On a screen, doing work, being on my phone.
Yeah.
It's my job, my life. So yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say.
8. Sree, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
I am someone who has been extremely lucky in having friends and family that have guided me and supported me in everything I've done. And my hope is to continue to pay that forward to as many people as possible.
I love it. Sree, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, I'm just grateful for the chance to talk to all of you. I'm going to give you my email address. It's sree@sree.net. sree@sree.net, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Sree Sreenivasan, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, and you got my name right. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.